Welcome to the speaking portion of the IELTS exam. My name is Adrian. I will be your examiner for this part of the test. It has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each, and I'm going to record it for marking purposes. To begin, a few questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. What is your full name?
My first name is Stephen. My surname is Andrews, but please just call me Steve. This is short for Stephen.
Okay, Steve. May I see your identification?
Yes, of course. Here's my passport I used for registration.
Thank you. Okay, here's your passport back.
Thank you.
Where do you live?
I live in Richmond, which is in southwest London. I live in a 2-bedroom flat with my wife.
What do you like about your home?
I like that it's really spacious and bright. We've got 12-foot high ceilings and southwest facing windows that really let in the light. It's a really well built building as well, so it's really quiet and peaceful.
Let's talk about ball games. What is the most popular ball game in your country?
Well, that's an easy one for me. It's football, without a shadow of a doubt. Not only in England, but across the whole of Great Britain. We watch and play it religiously, literally every single weekend.
Which is your favorite ball game?
For me as well, it's definitely football. I play 5-a-side, 11-a-side, I play it regularly. Just last weekend, we won 3-0 and I actually scored a goal. It was a really great game.
Where can you play ball games in your area?
Just literally 2 streets away from me, there's a football pitch. We play football there. Also, probably about a 5-minute drive from where I live, there's a nice recreation centre. You play indoor ball games there. I go there quite often, play tennis and handball.
Why do you think people like to play with a ball?
For me, I find ball games, they're really exciting and fast-paced. The dynamics of the ball, but it's really challenging, it can be like mentally and physically. Also, because we play in groups, it's a really great way to socialise. So get to meet new friends and obviously catch up with old friends.
Have you ever played any ball games that you are not good at?
Well, yeah, there's a couple of games I'm not very good at. I'd say the one for me is definitely golf. It's got a really steep learning curve, and to even hit the ball, it can be quite difficult. I actually did play last weekend with some friends, and it was a really awful game. I was terrible. I mulliganed at least 3 times on every round, and I literally lost at least half a dozen balls.
That's the end of part 1. Now we will continue with part 2. For part 2, here's a card with some questions. Don't turn that over yet. And here's some note paper and a pencil. You will have 1 minute to look at the questions on the card, think about your answer, take notes in the 1 minute if you wish, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, please.
Okay, turn over the card, and your 1 minute preparation time begins now.
Okay, thank you.
Steve, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay, a few months ago, probably around August time, I went to a festival at the Windrush River. And I've got to say, disappointingly, it's one of the most polluted places I've seen in quite a long time. It's quite a big river, and it runs north-east down into the Thames, feeds into the Thames at Oxford. It goes through a lot of urban areas and forests. And there was a time when I was a child, I used to go fishing there quite often with my dad and granddad. But I couldn't imagine going fishing there now. It's so polluted. I doubt there's any fish alive still in the water. And if they are, they've probably got 3 eyes. It's just, but all jokes aside, it was really sad to see. All the wildlife's gone there, the plants are dead, there's like an odour coming from the river, and the water was really brown and murky. It used to be so clear and full of life. It's just not good. Obviously, it's devastating to see the effect it's had on the animals, the plants, and it must also affect the residents living in the area. I couldn't imagine someone swimming in there. If you did, I imagine you would just come over in a real nasty skin rash. It really is that polluted. There's a lot of sewage being pumped into it, and I can also see, like, you can just literally see bottles just floating down the river. I believe the people and the government, they need to come together, and a water purification plant needs to be built to help with the overflow of the sewage and to clean up the mess and get the river back to the state it was in before.
Okay, Steve, your 2 minutes is up. I'm going to stop you there. Can you please pass back the card, the note paper? Thank you, and the questions. And now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about pollution. What are the different types of pollution that can be commonly observed in society?
I believe it's air, land and noise pollution, aside from the water pollution, which I just talked about.
Which of these is the most harmful and why?
I would say it has to be air pollution. Breathing is a vital part of our existence. That's what we need to survive. Obviously, smog makes it harder for us to breathe. I've read stories on the internet and in newspapers of cities where people are actually suffocating due to the smog. They literally can't breathe.
Why has pollution become a much more serious concern these days than a couple of hundred years ago?
Well, a couple of hundred years ago, the planet was a lot less populated. There's people all over the globe now, and there's 8 billion of us, I believe. Pollution nowadays is a lot more prevalent, and obviously there's more of us, so we're creating more pollution.
How can the problem of pollution be stopped?
It has to be a joint effort. People from all around the world, we have to get together, because air and water pollution, it moves region to region. So we have to come up with a concept like the Kyoto Accord and really work together to stop pollution.
Some people say that we do not inherit the earth from our parents, but we borrow it from our children. Do you agree with this statement? Why or why not?
I do. That's a really, really good statement. I strongly agree with that. Basically, if we carry on the way we're going, there is going to be no nature for our children and our children's children to enjoy. We really have to stop the pollution, come up with solutions and work together.
Let's talk about saving the environment. What kinds of technology have been developed to help restore the health of the environment?
There's been lots of great inventions over the last few years. Obviously with solar technology, I've also got low energy, eco-friendly light bulbs, electric cars, for example.
Which of these should be paid the most attention to for the betterment of the earth?
For me, I believe solar technology. Energy consumption is one of the biggest polluters we've got on the planet right now, so I believe we need to move more into solar energy developments and industries.
How can people be encouraged further to recycle more and not just carelessly throw away their papers and plastic?
For me, it would be a two-prong approach. The first one would be through education, showing people the challenges and consequences and what happens if they don't recycle. This could be done through at school, through media ads. Another way is, we actually do this in the UK, is implementing fines for people who do not recycle. For example, if you put your cardboard rubbish in a normal rubbish bin rather than using the recycling bin.
That is the end of part 3. That concludes the speaking portion of the exam. You will have your mark in about 2 weeks' time with the other sections. Remember to take your identification with you, and have a great rest of your day, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.